I was doing the hair videos, and then when I got sick, I stopped doing the hair videos. I haven't washed my hair in a while now, so I probably won't do a hair video anytime soon. And I was going to wash my hair today, but I don't feel well. You know, part of what they're doing now is they're trying to collect my life stories, I guess, to put it in more books, which goes to show that was the ultimate goal. I can't understand how, if I'm considered, let me just fix this so that it's a little higher. I can't understand how, if they keep saying I wasn't good enough, how I can be the person someone puts in a book, how I can be the person that they spend this money on. So we've moved past, I'm not being gang stalked, because according to the person who told me about the gang stalking program, I'll put the thumbnail up again, they gang stalk people who they feel are criminals, which is illegal. But if I'm not worthy of being gang stalked, then I was worthy of being written about and having my life investigated and talked about. Do I consider that a compliment? No, because they keep trying to change the fact that that's what they did. I think that is when you know you're dealing with people who you can't trust. If you think someone is unworthy of your time and energy, you don't pour more time and energy into that person. So what I'm saying is, if we're dealing with a program where people who other people feel are criminals are being stalked by multiple people who are then committing a crime. So let's see. If criminals are committing a crime of stalking people who they think are criminals, and I was originally part of this program and it turned out I wasn't a criminal, and now they have to say, no, I'm not a criminal, but they're still stalking me now to put me, I guess, in more books and more videos and put my life in a money-making situation where I don't profit from it. Again, I'm going to call this video profiting. I don't profit, but they profit, which is a crime. Again, there's too much crime for me to take this as a compliment. If it weren't a crime, we wouldn't have been going through all of this, which is where I come back to the original belief that I have, which is that they wanted to cover up the crime of profiting off me by claiming I did these bad things, which I didn't do. And when that didn't work because I had proof that I didn't do these bad things, then they want to profit off the fact. It's just too much profit. It's too confusing for me. So what I'm going to talk to you now about is that there's something in these people where they feel that if they can judge me, it changes me from being the victim of a crime to me being the person committing the crime. It still doesn't. It still doesn't work that way, folks. So they're talking about, again, my life story. That's part of why I'm stopping this whole me telling my life story that way. I'm going to talk about my life in relation to the things that have changed so that they can stop thinking they can profit off my life. We don't do that. We don't do that. So as I talk about over 50 years, what's changed? I think what's changed over 50 years, and I talked about this in the last video I did about image, is how it goes back to image. I should do a different video, but I'm going to try to keep this video one video, where people are now able to profit off other people's image by AI and cloning people and using it to commit crimes. You know, that's how I think this was supposed to work. I have experience talking to people, which now they'll say, no, you don't. But we already know they're not making sense. If they could use my ability to talk to people and clone it for AI, they can use it for good purposes, even though I don't profit off it, which would be to have like a customer service AI bot. Or they can use it for bad services, such as AI, you know, fraud scams, romance scams. But I think that part can be true of other people also. The book, maybe that wouldn't work for other people, but definitely to clone people's identities in AI scams where you call people up and pretend that that person's your family, the person's family member. So we've already seen that part. That doesn't sound so odd anymore. To think that 50 years ago, I was a baby, but over my 50 years, would I have ever thought people would be able to do that? No, I never would have. But I also think someone said in a video, I'm tired and I don't feel well, so I don't feel like looking for it. But someone said, she just said, hang up the phone and call that person. And that's my point. Like, what in our mental space became a problem with us not verifying things by talking to someone? Part of what I think happened over the 50 years was that cell phones, were always talking to people on cell phones, so we learned to trust the calls. But then once you're able to see a telephone number and find out that they can clone a number, and it doesn't seem like it's not the real number. It seems like it's a legitimate number. So what happened, I think, over my lifetime is that we became so trusting of the internet, computers, cell phones, that we stopped trusting other human beings. And I think that's part of what ended up happening. So I would have to, in order for me to be part of this program, I would have to completely lose trust in other human beings and myself. I think even if I don't trust other human beings, I'll trust me. I'll trust my instincts, because I think that's something that's changed. Over 50 years, we went from trusting our instincts about someone or something. If something about someone doesn't rub us the right way, it doesn't matter what. Trust it. And I would say the same thing to people about me. You don't have to like me. You don't have to trust me. I'm not putting you in a position where, oh, you have to trust me. No. And I think that's what's changed. We've now become a country where we don't trust our instincts enough. We have so many people telling us things instead of us just spending time alone. Maybe that's it too. Being alone, having our own thoughts, which is part of why I think this whole talking to me 24/7 was meant for me to lose trust in myself and trust them instead. It won't happen. So part of what they're now discussing is maybe it wasn't a good idea to say we were observing her and talking to her most of her life. I think I would like to know how many people who are being gang stalked or spoken to with this V2K are in my same age range. That's the next step for me. So my next question for gang stalkers is, are we all in around the 50 and up age range? I don't know if they're talking to the younger people as much. So was there something that happened at that has to do with age? I would like to know our age ranges, because I feel that 50 and up, we had time alone. Like, being alone was okay. We weren't always doing something. So it wasn't always video games or television or music. There were times when we were just quiet. And I know they're liars when they say I was always being spoken to. No, I've had quiet times where I could just hear nothing. Just sit quietly, think. Okay, maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Think. This doesn't let you have time to think, which goes back to losing trust in your own instincts and your own ability to think things through. That goes back to what I've been saying all along, that if they don't allow you to have time to think, you just act. And you're always stimulated. Whereas if you just have time of quiet and peace, you're calmer. It goes back to when they're talking about, image. You go back to not worrying so much about the outside image, but what you're feeling, what you're thinking. It goes back to having a moment to think. And once most humans have a moment to think, their reactions are different. Thank you for watching.